Hi, it's Heather. I'm a certified arborist in Bloomington, Indiana. And today I thought I would talk about my most used tools. Um, I I think, you know, a lot of people think when, you think of tree work, you think you have to have big tools. And yeah, to take down big trees, yeah, you do need big tools. But, when we're training younger trees or, even felling some not huge trees, we can use hand tools. The cool thing about using hand tools is, it's it's not like they're cheap, but for you know, $200, you can get a very nice handsaw that, will let you fell a good sized tree or make perfect cuts or whatever. And for me, too, I try and keep my tool selection really simple because I kind of have a bad memory. So I um I really try to be able to just have all my tools on me all the time. So anytime I can have stuff that just fits on my person, uh, and that's where it stays when I'm not using it, that's good. Um, so I guess, one thing. Oh, so, I just want to mention these are all tools that anyone can buy. And, you know, if you don't find these at, say your garden center or hardware store, there's some great websites where you can get really good professional quality arborist tools. Um, and, you know, you're going to find life a lot easier um, when you use the right tools for the job. Um, right tool, right job. So, yeah, if we start smallest to biggest, I guess we're going to start with some hand pruners. Um, Hand pruners are always, um, good to have along. I have, pants I wear for work that, has a little pokey pocket on the side so I can just tuck these in there when I need to use my saw. Also, just about, I can like look at a tool and it'll start getting funky. But so anyway, these are a professional uh, grade hand pruners by Corona. I think these do up to 1 3/4 inches. These have what you'll find in a description as an internal spring. Um, those I do have a pair, the other kind that you can get at the hardware store that has the external spring, the little thing. And I do use those for cutting roots and kind of, uh, yeah, like when I'm planting or if I need to cut some girdling roots. But for actual branches and stems, I use these. These are, you'll find the internal spring is much easier on your hands. So I know there was one week I pruned 65 really good sized crab apples by myself, plus some Japanese maples and some other stuff. And after that week, even with these, I was like, yeah, we're going to do stuff differently here. So, kind of anything maybe above half an inch, I go for a little handsaw. These are by Silky. Silky is a Japanese cutting tool brand. They make all sorts of cutting tools. But they have a great line of arborist saws. So they probably have the best, what do you call it, pole saw, you know? These are really sharp, and I will say if you hurt yourself with them, it will heal very neatly because they are pretty sharp. But honestly, when you use good tools, you're less likely to hurt yourself. So anyway, back to the handsaw. This is a handy little folding saw that just folds. Yeah, I got to take these in to give them a clean up today. But I personally, I don't like to use loppers in a tree because why? Oh, because it's hard. You're using them kind of far away from yourself, and so it's kind of hard to see if you're actually cutting at the branch collar. They're unwieldy, so if you're working on a very congested plant, you don't really have enough room to swing out those lopper handles. So having a good small handsaw in that case is a good way to go. So the next step up, let's talk about this guy. Here comes. This is another Silky saw. That previous saw, I forget. I'm not sure how you say it. It looks like Game Boy, but I think it's probably Gamma Boy. Anyway, that's a nice handy little saw for ladders and groundwork and stuff. This next saw, which also needs a cleanup, this is an Ibuki, and this is a wonderful saw. You're able to adjust the tension. So if you need a little more wiggle room, or you really want no slack in the blade, it's easy to adjust the tension. I use this just like a chainsaw. The little scabbard, I just wear in a D-ring on my work belt, and that way it's really handy. I don't have to worry about hurting myself when I get my saw out when I'm on a ladder or in the tree. But I spent a day practicing felling some silver maples that needed to be thinned out because they had grown like around the edges of a barn, and then the barn was gone, so they were like in a circle. But we wanted to keep the trees that we wanted to keep. We wanted them to have room to grow and be healthy. So I just spent a day felling and piecing them up, and they were probably, I don't know, 10-inch trunks and about maybe 40 feet tall. And the Ibuki did just swell. I do have a chainsaw, but with my truck, I don't really have a place to lock it up. And when I first started my business, people were stealing things like gas cans and chainsaws and stuff. And I just thought, what did we used to use before we had chainsaws? So I kind of went on a hunt for, a good professional handsaw, and I found Silky, and they're great. So yeah, and you can just buy them through their website. You can also buy them at treestuff.com. You can buy them at Cheryl Tree, and I think it's probably CherylTree.com. Anyway, just Google Silky, Silky. Uh, I have actually a whole bunch. I have one really long, thin saw that I use on larger hydrangeas, like the limelights, that they have really hard wood, but it's often very congested, so it's nice to have a thinner saw. I have a dedicated Silky little hand saw for doing girdling roots. They are great tools. And, if you would compare what you would pay for a chainsaw of a comparable caliber, it's for a homeowner, a property owner, or, landscaper, gardener, this is a good way to go, is a really good handsaw. And I think you'll find, you'll be able to work on a large variety of wood. Smaller trees, chainsaws really don't do well. You need that bigger wood to provide the stability. Otherwise, you get a little vibration and you don't make as good a cut. Let's see. So, along with that, I'll show you my ladder another day. I do have a 12-foot orchard ladder that really lets me get around to just about every situation that I would do. And they have 3 legs, so that provides a little more stability on uneven ground. But I do want to show you this. Okay, so all you weekend warriors, there is nothing wrong with wearing a helmet, when you have to be on a ladder, or, even if you climb up in a tree. If you're going to be above 12 feet, it's a good idea to wear a helmet. I got this for, I think it's probably, everything's gone up now. But it's got the chin strap. It's got the kind of floating head protection inside. It's adjustable. It's not a climbing helmet, although I do climb around with it some. And so, if you do rock climbing, you can use those. A bike helmet, anything rated for a crash would be helpful, but just protect your noggin. So if you're up on a ladder doing your gutters, put on a bike helmet. Why not? Save your brain. My mom knows so many people who their husbands were killed because they were up climbing, doing gutters, and fell and cracked their skull. So head protection is a big part of the game when you're working with trees. The other thing, I lost my favorite pair of safety glasses. I normally have several kinds of safety glasses. Like in the winter when it's gray out, the yellow ones. And these I've had better luck getting them at the hardware store. Like, you need the shatter resistant, you know, I don't know, archery, not archery, guns, target practice. Wearing those kinds of safety glasses seem to work really well and, protect around your eyes. But anyway, so in winter, the yellow ones are really good. Also, you want to have some that are protective against the sun. And I I like just in general, like it on an overcast day, just the clear. It actually has a little yellow tint to it, but it's not the full yellow. So that's that stuff. So 2 other tools that I really do use a lot in my arborist work is they're actually digging tools. So the first one would be the Fiskars. It's dirty. I gotta wash it. Um, the Fiskars soil knife. I think these run about, gosh, how much was it? 14 bucks, 14, 17, something like that. This is great. All around general great weeding tool, but for tree work, what I use this for would be to every tree that I prune, I pull away excess soil and mulch, uh, to find the root flare. And this does a really good job and helps me be gentle pulling this away so I don't damage the tree. So that's super good. And then I'm going to show you my other secret weapon. So this, it's not a pitchfork. This is a spading fork. So just like you would use like a spade for digging, this has the same shape, but it has these flat tines. They're not round. Okay, and so I use this so much, and so yes, it is a little bent. But a spading fork is what I use to plant trees. I aerate soil with it. They're just what I noticed once I started using a spading fork is when I planted trees and shrubs, my success rate went to near 100%. And when it's not your place and you got to go plant it all sorts of other places, yeah, you want to have a good success rate. So the reason why a spading fork is so useful in heavy soil, and I will say that this is digging in clay. This will not be helpful in really sandy soil at all. So there you can use your regular spade. But in heavy soil, what this does is it kind of aerates the sides of the hole, and that way the roots of the tree that we're planting will be able to get outside. So, it's, what I do is I go and I'll do a video of, how I dig a hole. And I taught a class this spring, and the last class we went somewhere and planted a bunch of stuff, and I had a bare root redbud from my yard that I brought, and it had very long side roots. And so I dug this very shallow hole with but it was very wide, and we staked it, and everyone was like, that's a hole. But so the spading fork really is your friend. Like, you might want to have a spade handy to scoop out the extra, but go ahead and aerate the soil in the hole, dig it out, what's in the hole. I'm sorry. And go ahead and pat down the middle of the hole at the bottom, because we don't want our plants to sink. And when you go to water in your plant, you are just going to watch that water just fall into the hole. And so, you just keep watering until, the water fills up and then goes away. And, you're going to walk away and that is a successful planting hole. So anyway, I just thought I would share. I think a lot of people are, when I show up with my little truck and, my tools all on me, I think people are kind of confused sometimes. But, these are tools that, anyone can purchase. And they're going to be safer for you to use because you're not going to have to overwork. Um, and you can, like with the silky saws, let the saw do the work. Don't force it, don't push it. Um, you're just there to move it back and forth. The saw's going to do all the work. And anyway, we will do some talk about, how we dig a proper planting hole and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, so that was my little tool talk. Oh, I had one more thing. I'm sorry. So I have a feeling I left my full can. I'm going to have to get another can. But anyway, too, during the growing season, there's a lot of plants that we want to make sure that we sterilize our cutting tools. Um, and so this is what I use. Lysol. If you're somewhere where like maybe you're candling or it's just handy, you can do a big bucket of like Mr. Clean. It takes the sap off, but it also sterilizes the cutting blade. So just like on us, like we have all sorts of bacteria and fungus on our skins. And, before we go in for surgery, they take that orange stuff and they wipe it all clean so that, no bacteria or fungi are going to be introduced into, the hole that the surgery is going to be performed through. So trees are the same deal. There's just all sorts of microbes everywhere. And when we do have to make a wound in a tree, which obviously pruning, and that goes for roots as well. If we do need to cut some girdling roots, we want to sterilize for that too. But anyway, we can help prevent the spread of a lot of diseases by keeping our tools clean and sterilized in between plants. And also, like if it is the growing season, I don't know. See, I just try and avoid disease like the plague. And so I very rarely have to deal with plants that have diseases, during the growing season. And anyway, yeah, just sterilize and you won't have problems. So anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I do have other videos, you may have to scroll down or scroll through or whatever. But, like and subscribe, and I'm going to have some more stuff to help you make your garden more enjoyable and more successful. So anyway, have a great day. Bye.